Hey y'all, so I'm so excited. Season 2, episode 9, featuring Miss Terrell Kimmins. How are you, Terrell?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself, girl?
Listen, I'm here. I'm blessed. I thank God. Listen, y'all. See, you don't get to see the behind the scenes. We done already tried this one time, okay? But one of the features I wanted to add in the revamping and the rebranding is a visual aspect. Because when we were in the studio, you were able to see myself and the guests interact. But since this pandemic and we've been at home doing this homemade recording, we haven't had that option. So I wanted to bring that back. And listen, it's been a little bit and a little much and a bit, but we're here, and I'm so excited for you all to be a part of the conversation and to see Terrell and I have this conversation. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, the highs, the lows, and hopefully encouraging you all, because right now we all are being affected in one way or another. So before we jump into the conversation, Terrell, let the people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Hello, everyone out there. I am Terrell Kimmins, and I am a real estate agent here in the DFW Metroplex. Also, a young, thriving mother to a wonderful, brilliant 9-year-old son named Caleb. So I'm looking forward to being able to deliver you all some good nuggets, give you some of my highs and my lows, some of my personal experiences, the greats and the bads, and hopefully these will either definitely push you up over that hump that you're probably feeling, or either make you just go harder.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you mentioned that you are a mother. I've already told you this. It is, not only you a mother, but you show it. You show it in your everyday life, how committed and dedicated you are to your son. And it is such a beautiful thing to watch. And as women, which women is typically my demographic, it's good for us to see that. It's good for us to see that you do not have to choose. You can be an amazing mother and also a thriving business owner as well, right?
Yes, of course. And you have to look at it from the aspect that most people actually want to see the human side of you, so it shouldn't always just be completely bogged down by business. They want to be able to look and see, like, okay, well, what does she enjoy doing outside of the real estate? Or what does she enjoy doing outside of going to networking events? And so when they can kind of have something else that they can connect to and try to draw a little bit of a better interaction, because you never know what type of customer or client may come your way. And it could be the simplest thing by uploading a video of you skating with your son, like, oh wow, this sounds like a pretty genuine person that I would like to be able to work with. And for me, it's just establishing a platform of transparency across the board.
Very true. That's very true. And it encourages me because I'm not the best with that. Because I've almost been, people kind of call me a Pandora box a little bit. I mean, when it comes to the podcast, it's usually easier because I'm usually, behind the microphone and you don't see me, so it's like whatever, I can kind of tell my business and you don't know who I am. But I do want to get better at that. I feel like there's so much freedom and transparency, and people trust you more when you are transparent and when they can identify and relate to you. So I love that. Let's talk about it. Entrepreneurship, okay? It is not for the faint of heart, okay? A lot of people see the glamour and the feeds and the successes, but they do not know that it takes a lot of work behind the scenes. So what is your story behind the glory, if you will, behind the successes and the titles and the real estate agent? What is your story or your why?
That is very interesting that you brought that up. Most people often think that, okay, I'm going to jump into entrepreneurship, and sometimes they want to seek out, I would say, the number one glory find a factor from that, and that's money. But you really need to ask yourself, are you really trying to go into entrepreneurship for money? Because money should not be the indication why you decide to become an entrepreneur. You need to ask yourself, is your why? For me, my why is legacy and generational wealth. So when you have a why that's going to keep you motivated, even in those nights where you don't want to continue reading, or you don't want to continue researching, or you don't want to go to that next class, or you don't want to do this next meeting, those whys are going to continue to push you there. And if it's money, trust and believe, that's not going to be the case, because money is simply a byproduct when it comes down to entrepreneurship. And when I say byproduct, I mean it's a resource. So most people don't realize that if you can't manage money, say for instance, in a small sector, there's no way you're going to be able to manage it from a large sector. So you have to make sure that your why into jumping into entrepreneurship is going to be that ultimate push each and every minute that you continue to be an entrepreneur. For me personally, I knew that growing up, I didn't have a support system, meaning like I didn't have my mother and my father in my life. I grew up in a household where I was taken in by my aunt who adopted us. And so not having those immediate roles, and I didn't also have individuals to display or portray to me different aspects when it came down to being entrepreneur. I didn't really step into that industry until after college. And when I started to really dive into and getting more engaged in different concepts and aspects when it comes down to becoming an adult. And when I moved here to Texas and I just saw all the immense opportunities that was out here, I was like, man, I'm cheating myself. What have I been doing all these years?
Right.
And I started to definitely connect with various individuals that had started to take me on a path to really open up a whole new sector that I was completely blinded to. So when I got into real estate, it merely was like just a leap into faith, honestly, because being a single mother, working full time, and still trying to navigate being in a whole new area was quite intimidating. But I'm telling you guys, everything that I do is always by God. And I know that He's going to place me where I needed to be placed, and He's going to put those people there that need to be there. And He's going to also remove those individuals that need to be removed. So you have to stay firm to that, and you got to remain faithful with that.
Very true. That's so good, baby. You said a whole, I don't know if you know it, but you said a whole word right there. I'm over taking notes like community, faith. Listen, it's so good because first of all, it does take faith to step out and do a lot of the time we're doing things that we've never done. Sometimes we've never seen it done generationally. And so it does take a lot of faith. And I want those that are watching and that are a little fearful, God has given you either a vision or an idea, put something inside of you that's literally burning you up, and it keeps you up at night and wakes you up in the morning. I really want you to be encouraged that even in this pandemic, okay, God can still use you to do that thing. Don't wait for the perfect time. If God has said now, do it now, okay? Because I'm a living witness. Yeah, I'm a living witness, and I'm sure you can attest that even in this pandemic, God has still been blessing. God has still been opening doors. And I have never seen His hand in the way that I've seen it, even in what some would consider a famine or, you know, a time of loss. And I pray for those that have experienced loss in every area. I'm just saying, if God has given you something to do and He's telling you now is the time to do it, and you feel that thing burning you up on this, do it. Have the faith to do it, because if He's calling you to it, you have everything you need on the inside of you to complete that thing. I believe that. And so I want us to, there's no such thing as the right timing if God is, because it's gonna never make sense. It's never going to make sense. It's going to be bigger.
Some of the greatest individuals came from the lowest points of recession. And if you're not able to actually open your eyes up to see the opportunities, that's why I always look at the cup as half full. I'm never going to look at the cup as half empty. And I'm always going to seek and reach out for whatever joy or how I can make that particular experience the best. I'm gonna reach for the best. Like anybody can tell you, when it comes down to the resilience in me and the tenacity in me, oh baby, it's endless. Suddenly, it's endless.
I feel you, sis.
It is probably not one thing where someone can sit before me and make me think that I'm not going to be able to achieve it. Because if I set my mind to it, I open my heart to be it, and I let my spirit lead me, trust and believe it's about to happen.
I love it.
Because I'm never invited into a room that I don't belong in.
And nothing is impossible. Nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on, but this is good. I recently watched Michelle Obama's documentary, Becoming. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet, but let me tell you something. I believe every woman and every entrepreneur, every dreamer, every person who has ambition and everybody should watch this documentary, because it shows that we have the possibility to be anything. We can do literally anything. And
Yes.
again, that I love what you said. There's nothing, not one thing, not one room, not you're ready for it all. I love that. So we were talking about the pandemic and talking about recession. How have you had to pivot in this season? How have you, because we've talked about that before, on a few episodes back, about not pausing, just pivoting. How have you had to pivot, the way you do business, or just the way that you, because you're in real estate, so I don't know how that's affected. So talk about that, if you will, so somebody who may be going through that or having to learn or find their way, they can be, inspired by that.
Well, the adjustment basically, it wasn't too extreme. For me, it was basically offering the reassurance to my clients that it is still possible even while you're facing these challenging times. Most people try to, some people easily get discouraged because of the fear factor. And so for me, it's going in and letting you know, this is how we're going to eliminate this fear factor. And number one, you got to believe it in order for it to be manifest. I'm a firm believer in that you manifest anything into your life. And so with my individual clients who were probably before in the process, getting ready to purchase homes or close on homes, and my clients who were about to start the process, of course, many of them were impacted, meaning like their employers, probably hit furloughs, or, regulations change as far as the pre-approvals. So those are all different challenges, but this is also part you have to take into consideration is your team. So my partner in crime, which I call him, is my preferred lender. We always going to figure out a good strategy to offer our clients at the end of the day to be able to still make sure that we reach that common goal, which is getting them into a home or either getting their home sold. So we make sure we abide by whatever precautionary standards that was set upon from the nation when it came down to the contact and all of that. However, when there was issues, I said, look, this is also still a better opportunity because so many people are operating on the fear end when it comes down to selling. So for my buyers, I was like, you can get now probably a little bit more concessions, meaning like a little bit more assistance from those sellers who like, hey, pay this closing costs or whatever, and we can do those contracts that way. For my sellers, hey, if you really trying to move and you want to go find something that's, even better, this is still an advantage for you as well, because you can probably find a nice property when it comes down to new constructions because, labor and stuff is kind of on a standstill. So let's work that out, move these houses really quick. So for me, it was actually a really good season. It kept me extremely busy. I picked up a whole lot more new clients just from referrals because my clients were so impressed on how I handled the situation with attention, with the delicacy, and most importantly, making sure I prioritize their needs at the end of the day, because that's what it boils down to. It's making sure I'm constantly prioritizing what they need.
I love that. I love that. I heard a lot of, and it's funny how you're already kind of hinting on the notes that I had, and we did not talk about exactly what my bullet points. So it's amazing how the conversation is just flowing, but I hear a lot of flexibility. You know what I'm saying? You have to be flexible.
Yes.
Things, we live in a world that is ever changing, and it changes fast, and it changes without notice. Okay, so you have to be willing to be flexible, and that's sometimes hard to me, in my opinion. My opinion is not law, but that's sometimes hard or more difficult for women to do, because we usually have our list, we're list people, and we have our vision and we want things to be a certain way. But that's just not how the world works, baby. And I really want us to think about that in this time. Like you were saying, nothing is impossible. You can use this time to your advantage, to the best of your ability, but you're going to have to be flexible. You may not be able to do it in the way you've always done it. Like tonight, we're doing this via Zoom. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, we got what we need. I don't know, but I'm having to be flexible because I'm not able to go to the studio. So that is like a huge thing in this time as entrepreneurs, as business people. is being flexible. Be asking you, sometimes you, like you said, you have a team, asking other people, reaching out beyond yourself. If you're not sure how to do it, asking God for help and guidance, because this is a key time to really elevate yourself, to really learn more. I'm taking Harvard courses. A lot of that stuff be going over my head, but it's an opportunity for me to be flexible and for me to learn more so that I can, like you said, benefit the people I serve in a better way. And that is so
And you will find that when it comes down to procuring that flexibility, that most of those people are able to advance. Individuals who are not so rigid and have the outlook of being flexible, more like water, they are gonna naturally attract individuals to them because they're easily able to adapt to the ever-changing climates. And that's in any situation. If you're working at a company, you're going to notice that things are going to continue to change. And if you want to stay stuck in the same rigid ways, you're completely discounting, or you're not allowing the room for the growth, for the progress of that company. So with being a business owner, you can't always rely on doing things the same way that it was done 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even sometimes 2 to 3 months ago.
right,
i.e. the pandemic. When you look
right,
at now, this is probably going to really jumpstart a lot of businesses into thinking further ahead, like, okay, how do I need to handle such a situation when it comes to something that was completely out of all of our hands?
yeah,
So that's why I'm like, you don't want to take any experience and make sure that you only grasp on the negative aspect.
right,
Take this experience and say, okay, wow, what am I being taught from this? What can I learn? How can I monetize this? And how can I maximize this for me being better in the future? That's my approach to anything.
and that's good, like what you said, because if we want new results, if we want better results, we cannot keep doing things the same way. And that was my, I guess, whole mindset with the rebranding. I'm coming up on a year with the podcast and 2 years for Ever Evolving Women, and it's been great and it's been wonderful. Thank you. Pray my strength, huh? It's been great and it's cool. And I'm so grateful for everybody who has supported and has, been rocking with me when I didn't know what in the world I was doing. But, I want to be more effective and I want to see new results and I want to reach beyond this certain demographic and reach beyond this certain sector. And it's not like you said earlier, it's not about the money for me. Trust me, people that know me know that a lot of times I may put a price out there, but if you hit me up, I got you. Come on, I just want you to hear this entrepreneur advice. I just want you to be in the room. I just want you to be able to shake hands with these people. It's not about the money for me. It's really about being effective and going beyond myself. And if I haven't reached somebody in 2 years in this time, what am I doing? It's some people that I have not been able to reach because I have not changed certain things. So I had to do some things that I really didn't want to do. But you in order to get new results, you have to try new ways. You have to try new ways and see what works.
You got to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. That's listen. This right here is beyond my comfort zone. I'm telling you that. I keep looking here. Woo! But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I believe that. So, what's the best way to deal with disappointment and the letdown in business? Because I know for me, like I said, it ain't been that long for me, but in that time, I have experienced some letdowns. I've had events where nobody showed up. I had events where we did not make the financial quota, and so that money had to come out of my pocket. I mean, there's so many things I could say, but how do we deal with that and bounce back from it? Because I heard you earlier say not to focus on the negative, which gets a lot of us, and it keeps us stuck, because sometimes something bad happens and then we're like, oh, I'm done. I'm not trying this again. This must not be for me. I'm walking away from this. But talk about that. How do we bounce back from disappointment or something not turning out the way we hope for it to?
I would say the number one thing is patience. You have to have patience with yourself when you're stepping into entrepreneurship, because you're not going to always get it right the first time. maybe not even the second time, and sometimes third time. But if you're not patient enough with yourself, you're going to find yourself quickly pulling yourself down. And the words that you feed yourself ultimately are going to become the habits that you're going to demonstrate. It's going to become your character. And before long, it'll become your destiny. So you don't ever want those you don't ever want those to interfere with where you're trying to go, because trust, once you have already set that path and you have a clear vision on where it's going, you're going to make it there. But you got to be patient, and there's going to be many disappointments that are going to come your way. Heck, there probably is going to be even some times where you're looking at yourself, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? And you're going to be questioning it, and you're going to be doubting it. But you cannot let that fill you up. You have to sit back, reanalyze, take a breath, and start re-strategizing. That's all it is. If you made a mistake here, you take those components of whatever mistake that you made, you pick it apart like a new recipe to you, and you start grinding that out so you can create that masterpiece that you're trying to do at the end of the day. That is exactly how I do anything, because there's many times where I've been, had some setbacks, I've had some challenges, I had some major disappointments. I've had people in my corner that I thought were in my corner, but truly weren't in my corner. I had people that I never knew were going to be in my corner and came to the corner hard. So, you have to really rely on having that ultimate patience with yourself, and always, like I said, that just endless faith, because God is going to make that way. I know I always reverted back to that, but that, like, yes, he is.
Because we wouldn't make it without him. Let's be clear.
Exactly.
I don't care. I tell people all the time, listen, whenever you hear me talking, it's gonna come up, because whatever it is, it's gonna come out. Okay, but I am a testament that without God, I could not do it. There's no way. Even in the past 2 years I've had, when I started what I'm doing now, it came out of pain. It came out of a miscarriage that I did not think that loss. I didn't think I was gonna make. I was like, oh. Now, I've been through a lot of stuff, but this right here, oh God, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I know you said you won't put more on me than I can bear, but this is too much, okay? And look at what it is birthed. It is birthed. It took that pain and it birthed purpose. And I am. I wouldn't be here. So trust that when we say that, it's not cliche. It's not something that sounds good. I tell people, I'm not perfect, but listen, I know who is, and it keeps me together. All right, we won't get started preaching up here. But I love what you said, learning and growing from it. Learning and growing from those disappointments, those setbacks. I love that. I think it's important to have those setbacks sometimes, because it really does recalibrate you. It really shows you where you are, what you don't know, what you need to learn more of. It's all in how you look at it. So I love that. We're going to shift gears a little bit, okay? So I think it's very important. At the beginning of this year, there was a phrase that was used a lot, taking up space, right? I think it is so important for women, especially Black women. And I say that all the time. I'm not just, when I say women, I mean all women. However, my experience is as a Black woman, okay? So how important would you say, as a businesswoman, as a mom, as someone that's out here closing these deals and making these sales, how important is it for us to take up space? And the reason why I ask that is because a lot of us are discouraged right now. A lot of us are feeling like, whether it's due to the pandemic, whether it's due to the social climate, whatever the reason may be, I want us to keep our momentum up, keep our spirits up as much as possible, and continue to take up space, even more so now. So how important would you say that is for us to continue to take up space for the rest of 2020 and beyond?
Well, honey, it is significantly important. And the reason why it's important is because I am right now the only, as you said, as a Black woman, I am the only walking figure or physical figure for my other little Black girls to see that is possible. And it's possible even considering whatever factors may take place in your life. Whether or not you become a single mother, whether or not you did or did not finish college, whether or not you didn't have a mother or a father growing up, whatever the case may be. For me, that's why I think the taking up the space aspect is so important for the younger generation, because they need that frontline example that I can do it. I've seen someone that looks like me, that's come from something like me, that relates to what have been through, and she made it happen. So I know I can make it happen. And that's also to be able to give and pour back into them, because we're going through those experiences now. We're going to be crossing into different avenues and coming across different resources and learning so much more that it's going to be so much to hold in. That's why we got to pour it out. So at the end of the day, that's why it's so important to continue that resilient and continue that push to all the sisters out there. And like you said, any woman for that aspect, but specifically for the Black women, because not too many of us have been afforded these opportunities or have been granted these opportunities that are now out there on the table for grabs. And some are still oblivious to it. They are, and I don't blame them, because I'm not saying that they're just not trying intentionally not to know it. Some just aren't aware of it. So this is why it's for me to be able to put that information out there, to be able to give you that frontline touch, be like, oh, she did that. Let me reach out to her and see how we can do this thing, kind of thing. That's me. Because if I see somebody, I'm like, oh, really? Let me check this out real quick.
Right. It's an inspiration. I love that. I never thought of it that way, but taking up space and seeing another woman take up space and do her thing and thrive, it really is encouraging and inspiring to say, if she did that, I know I can do it. Because listen, community over competition is so important, and a lot of times we get in our own way from jealousy, and we get in our own way by jealousy and insecurities and feeling like, oh, look at her, she ain't been doing it as I've been doing it. Yeah. And it's just like, that should be a motivation to you to say, you know what, if she did that, that means I can do it too. Or let me partner with her and help her in some area. Let's partner together and do something amazing. That's what this podcast is about. Rarely do I ever have podcasts by myself. And not that I have to, because clearly I can talk. It ain't about that. It's because I want to partner with other people and other women and other individuals who can add to myself and add to others, and see how I can add to them as well. I mean, community is so important, like especially now, like we need each other, okay? This island mentality, this crab in the barrel mentality, the me and mine's, my four and no more, that ain't gonna work anymore. We're gonna have to unite and bind together. That is the only way we're going to make it. That's the only way we're going to. We are our own allies.
Exactly. And that's why I never really believed in the phrase self-made millionaire, because when you really think back to it, you're gonna need a strong team of support system. No one has ever completely just done it completely on their own. You don't have someone to discount services to be able to help you get where I mean, when you look at the whole story that, Netflix put out on Madam C.J. Walker, even though they titled it Self-Made, when you look at it now, she had her husband, she had some family members, they all helped jump that ship, they all was in that. So you do have to have that strong core with you. And you also have to keep that mentality that the table is big enough for all of us.
We all can eat. I say that all the time. We all eat.
Let me pull your chair out, boo. Come sit beside me. Pull another chair up. We're not in this to try to knock and keep somebody out at the table, because that's how we're not going to grow. The only way we're going to grow is by extending our hands and fellowshipping and making sure that we grab our sisters up and we all are linked and moving forward.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to conclude with this. As a mother, what would you want your son to gain from your life and your journey, or seeing how hard you work and what you do? What would you want him to be able to say about you, or to learn from the life he sees you live?
Well, I'm telling you, if you ever met my little one, he has no shame in expressing himself. But I mean, I think he's already kind of expressed it, and to an extent, just based off of where he is right now on how he can relate things. So just him being able to see me do it, that has pushed him into being able to push himself further and challenge himself a little bit more. And sometimes it's not always good. He does get aggravated with me when I'm like, no, we're going to sit here and we're going to go over this. Caleb, mama's going to show you how to do this. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that he is going to definitely obtain the spirit and just the knack of resilience, and just knowing where, I wouldn't say hard work per se, but consistency, like how consistency and discipline and being able to share that amongst others will take you so much further than just complacency. Like
I
he
love
can
it.
say that, you know, mama was just settling. No, she was always out there. She's running from the soccer game over here to do this showing, to go do this open house, then come back and make dinner, you know, kind of thing. So
Listen,
for him, he sees all of that multitasking and me holding it together, even though he don't see all the background from it. But I know as he gets older, he's going to be able to reflect back and be like, wow, you really were a little superwoman, weren't you?
that's sweet. I love it. I love it. So before we get out of here, let people know how they can find you, how they can, get a house. Listen, plug yourself, boo. Instagram, website, all that.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Queen T. or hashtag Real Estate by Terrell. I'm on Facebook under my name, Terrell Harding, or Real Estate by Terrell as well on there. And I'm a part of the Veteran Real Estate Partners. We are locally here in Mansfield, Texas. So feel free to reach out. You can call me direct at 682-651-5768. Or my email is tharding@realestatebyterrell.com.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you, Terrell, for joining me. This has been such a good conversation. And like I said, this was my first time trying this, but it was a good learning experience. We talked about that, huh? So I ain't gonna think about the negative, just the positive, that moving forward, I'll be able to do this now because I learned how to do it tonight. Learn how to do it right tonight.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for joining us. Make sure you tune in. You know we are on every platform. We're on Anchor. This will also be on our YouTube page, Facebook, everywhere. Okay, so make sure you tune in. Make sure you share. Make sure you listen to all the other episodes that are currently available. We are ending this season really soon, y'all. June 1st will be 1 year for the podcast. Woo! I'm excited. And then we're going to be ending it this summer and jumping into season 3 before we know it. I mean, these days and weeks are just flying by. So thank you all for your support. Until next time, you're listening and watching the Ever Evolving Podcast.